Good day and welcome to your catch-up video lessons with me, Mr. Sumandi. This week, we will embark to new grammar lessons applying English verbs in their different formats according to their timeline use. After learning the verb formats in progressive timeline, we are learning verbs in perfect timeline this time. But before you proceed, make sure you have the copy of the verb table provided in your class so you can easily grasp the formats of these verb timelines. Without further ado, let's begin. Verbs in perfect timeline is written by combining the helping verbs has, have, and had plus the past participle of the verb. Has, have are used for the present timeline. Had is for the past, while the format will have is for the future. The verb in past participle can be written in different spelling depending on its category of regular and irregular verbs. As for the example, the word grow, which is an irregular verb, has the past participle form of grown. Hence, we say the following examples. I have grown my beard is in perfect present. The birds had flown south is in perfect past. Mr. Ricardo will have had lunch with his colleagues is in perfect future. Like what I said earlier, verbs have different forms in different timeline. As discussed from our previous grammar lessons on parts of speech, verb has two categories, the regular verb and irregular verb. Regular verbs are written with ed, d, or ied in both past and past participle form. Let's read some examples. Most of the verbs like the word talk ends with ed in both past and past participle form. Talk, talked, talked. Verbs like taste ends with d in both past and past participle form, since the word ends with e. Taste, tasted, tasted. The verb cry replaces y with ied endings in both past and past participle form, since the word ends with a consonant plus y. Cry, cried, cried. Irregular verbs are more complex than that because the spelling changes or sometimes do not change at all in their past and past participle form. But there is a pattern if you become more familiar with the English verbs. Let's see some examples. Pattern number 1 shows that some verbs change the spelling in both past and past participle form, like see, saw, seen. Pattern number 2 shows the past and past participle same changes, like meet, met, met. Pattern number 3 shows that the only change is in past form. Run, ran, run. Lastly, pattern number 4, which shows no changes in spelling for both past and past participle form. Put, put, put. Verbs in past participle form are what we need in composing sentences in perfect timeline. If this is still confusing, please refer to our verb table guide and check the verb forms there. Let's talk about the perfect timeline. In this timeline, the action is expected to be done at some point of time in past, present, or future. Exact time is not important here since the idea is just simply telling that the action has been already finished. Let's take a look at the perfect past example. He had met Claire before his girlfriend arrived. The idea here is that the action had met happened first before another past action took place. He had met Claire first, then his girlfriend arrived. Past action before past action. The perfect present shows action that just happened in the present. It is already finished, but the idea is that the action just recently finished in the present. He has already met Claire means that way. In case of perfect future, the idea here is telling actions that are expected to be finished in the future. It is like you are thinking in advance of what will have happened or done in the future time. For example, he will have met Claire for sure by the time our class ends. Here we expect that the person will have done the action in some point of time in the future. Comparing both simple and perfect timelines hopefully will make the idea clear. Again, in simple timeline, we only tell of the activities that happened, happens, or will happen. Again, simple past only tells the action happened in the past, but in perfect past timeline, the action had happened first before another past action happened. In simple past timeline, you only tell the finished activity. He met Claire last night. But in perfect past timeline, he had met Claire before his girlfriend arrived. The action had met happened first before another past action took place. In simple present timeline, actions happen every day. It is like a habit. He meets Claire every day. While in perfect present timeline, the action has already finished at some point of time in the present. It has recently finished. He has already met Claire. In simple future timeline, we only tell the activities that will soon to happen in the future, like he will meet Claire after school. While in perfect future timeline, the action is expected to be finished in the future. He will have met Claire for sure by the time our class ends. Let's apply the knowledge we have learned. Try composing a sentence using the verb on the screen in both simple and perfect form. Take note also of the verb tense that you have to use. For example, the verb study in present form. In simple present timeline, the sentence should be written study, since the subject I take the base form of the verb. I study math at home. While in perfect present timeline, the verb must be written have studied. Hence, I have studied math. Again, take note that pronoun I takes base form of the verb, though it is counted as one. It is now your turn. So, remember, Perfect timeline shows the action that is already done or expected to be done. The format of verbs in perfect timeline are the following. In perfect present timeline, has, have plus past participle is the format. In perfect past, had plus past participle is the format. While in perfect future, will, have plus past participle is the format.